In your personal opinion, who has it harder, men or women? Liam Allen, a 22-year-old psychology student? He's done nothing wrong as of right now and is a good student. He probably could have led a successful life, until he was falsely accused of rape. Thankfully, they had evidence from the accuser herself that it wasn't rape and were able to remove all charges. Not all men are this lucky. Though all charges were removed, the original charges are still there somewhere. There's still evidence that he was accused of rape. Say he wasn't. He still has a long list of problems that women definitely don't have. The question says in your personal opinion, so I'm going to freely state that women are the people who cause his problems. Feminists have been the people who have been pushing for gender equality. In reality, however, it's the idealizing of women while downgrading and at the expense of men. Males have longer jail times than women do for the exact same crimes. Who in their right mind thinks that this is equality? Why should one gender be treated with more grace than another for the same thing? Men are 9 times more likely to get shot at work. Men are also more likely to commit suicide at work. And women complain about this non-existent wage gap. Even if said wage gap was real, wouldn't the person who is more likely to lose their life get paid more? On the topic of work, women are 2 times more likely to get hired than a man with the same, or a better application. Therefore making it harder for males to obtain a job. As a result, more men than women are homeless. There are unfair scholarships for women. I want to go into a STEM field. Meteorology, to be precise. I will likely get a STEM scholarship just for the fact that I'm a girl. If a man who had a better resume than me applied for the scholarship, I would still get it for the mere fact that I was born female. And what if the man actually needed said scholarship more than me to attend the school? He would be denied funds for an education just because he's a male. The list goes on, but Ethan DeProd did it much better. This is something that happened yesterday. A conversation I heard then joined. My cousin and her parents are going to Europe for a few weeks. They boarded the plane yesterday. However, they were unable to get seats together. My aunt and my grandmother were on the phone yesterday. This is what they were saying: "Grandmother, you're not sitting together. Make sure it isn't sitting by a male." At this point, I looked up to eavesdrop. "Grandmother, she's not." "Oh, that's a relief. If she was, then you would have had to have made a commotion and made sure she got moved by a female." I'm glad it didn't come to that. Me, being me, questioned them after they hung up. Me, why can't I sit by a man? Grandmother, kids should sit by women. Me, and why is that? Mother, because it's a plane and people sit close to each other. Me, so? But why can't she sit by a male? Mother, because it's a man. Men just do that stuff. Grandmother, kids should not be allowed to sit by men they don't know. They should always sit by a woman. So the point I got was that basically, men shouldn't be around kids they don't know. Why? Because all men are dangerous and all women are nice. If a man approaches a kid, people think he's creepy and think he wants to hurt or kidnap the kid. They then call the police. If a woman approaches a kid, she is seen as loving and compassionate, which is probably why men almost always lose their children to a woman in court. I think this image sums it up pretty accurately. This was only really referring to Western women. In other parts of the world, it is much different. Thus, men have it harder than women by a long shot. I'm not denying that women have problems. We do. There are plenty. Sadly, I've seen lots of answers that have said that women have it harder because of periods and giving birth. Those aren't really valid reasons. The one about having to look a certain way is, there are problems that women face outside of that. But the problems males face are greater and more severe than periods and a teacher asking boys to carry boxes instead of girls.